Alright, hello everyone. This video is a follow-up to about a year ago. I posted a video why I love my F350 7.3 liter gas, and this is why I still love my 2023 F350 7.3 liter gas. It does have 373 gears, and the video you're about to watch is the things that I really like about it and maybe a couple gripes along the way. Hope you enjoy it. So it's probably pretty important that new viewers know what I use my truck for, because if I like something or if I don't like something, probably depends a lot on how I use it. So my truck is largely a daily driver. I also tow rather frequently with it, both small things and bigger things. Anything from a lawnmower trailer with a lawnmower on it to my mini excavator that weighs about 13.8 plus trailer. So we're right around 17,000 pounds conventional hitch with it, and that's putting the truck near its 18,000 pound conventional hitch rating. One of the biggest reasons I went out and got this truck was just so that there was no question or whatever. I had timbreds on my 6.7 F250, but that trailer specifically was several thousand pounds over, by several, I mean 2,000 pounds over the conventional hitch rating for that truck. I'm going to tell you that with modifications that improve stability and also safe driving, that's not a huge problem. But I'm on YouTube and broadcasting what I'm doing. I'm gonna do what I can to prevent that from ever being an issue, because it just seems like it's an added problem. So when I was faced with my truck was going out of warranty because it was one payment away from being paid off, I was obviously way out of powertrain warranty and way out of any normal warranty, or I was about to leave Ford's other support warranty, so dealing with interior stuff, the 5-year body warranty if you want. I was leaving that, and obviously with a 5-year loan, not only do you pay off the loan, you lose any extra warranty that you paid for. In my case, I didn't pay any extra for any warranty. My loan through the credit union covered or had within it engine and driveline warranties that they would help pay, and I did have to use that not for any powertrain related, but my head unit, my GPS sending unit failed internally, was sending bad information to the head unit and basically caused the processor to overload it and made the head unit fail. And Ford paid half, the insurance or the credit union's warranty coverage paid the other half, and I paid nothing. So that worked out great. That's the one thing. And Ford fixed my sunroof, and that was all under warranty, paid nothing, lost my truck for a couple days, no big deal. So this was my previous truck that I actually started the YouTube channel with. It is a Lariat Ultimate F250 6.7 Power Stroke 355 gears. I ordered it the way that I thought I wanted it as a younger single man who didn't have a child, and I guess as I grew a family, realized that having fancy seats and whatnot was detracting from the overall usability of the truck, as well as I'm going to talk about, not having a center seat. I realized that there was some changes that I wanted to have, including not having such a high trim truck, and I wanted to try the 7.3. So I didn't get the new truck as a repulsion of my old truck. I loved my old truck, and I love the 6.7. So this was not a changeover because of dislike. It was simply a changeover of my truck is now 5 years old, out of warranty. I'm going to try something new. Well, why don't I try something very new and see how I like it? And so far, I'm very happy with that changeover. So we'll keep going. That is one of the reasons I don't recommend getting a sunroof. But so this truck, I wanted to go back to the basics. I had a Lariat Ultimate before. It was too much truck in terms of I was constantly worried about ripping the seats and just internal damage, and I paid extra because when I ordered the truck, I was single without a family and no dogs. Besides my older geriatric dog who, him and I would go for rides together, but he wasn't going on road trips with me and things like that. His name was Bert, and he was a Jack Russell. He was an awesome dog. Maybe I'll put a picture right here. So I went to go add one in, and I got a little bit carried away because he's a good boy. He was an extremely good dog. So I'm doing a new thing where I have jokes at the end of a video to reward those who have stuck around. But I'm going to tell a couple now. Why don't eggs tell jokes? Because they might crack up. What does a lemon say when he answers the phone? Yellow. Why couldn't a leopard play hide and seek? Because he was always spotted. All right, well, we'll have more toward the end of the video. We're going to make that a thing. You guys have a great day. It was a great boy. I wanted to get a middle seat for the front because I had a center console, and yes, the storage of the center console is unbelievable. And I had the Ford lockbox in there, so it had a safe in the center console, which was great. Now, it did promote messiness because anytime you have extra storage, you end up retaining extra junk, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have run into that before, unless you are OCD about clutter and whatever, which I am, but at the same time, I'm good at ignoring it, I guess. I really hate clutter, but also it does tend to accumulate. So I knew I wanted a center seat because I have a 5-year-old daughter who loves everything that I love, and she is just a gem, and I love doing things with her, and seeing her in the center console or in the center seat when we go to recover a deer out of the field or something along those lines makes me so happy, and I grin ear to ear. Here's another thing. We just went on a snowmobile trip, and my buddy's son sat in the middle up here because we had 3 dogs and 3 people in a crew cab truck. And by 3 dogs, I mean one of them was a golden retriever and the other one was a Chesapeake Bay Retriever. So 2 big dogs and a beagle. And a beagle, of course, with their personality, takes up 3 spaces alone. So having the center seat for me was an important thing that I wanted to have in a new truck. That's one of the follies that I think that my F-250 had. And for most people, an F-250, especially a current F-250, is way in excess of what you're doing. And for a lot of people with boats, for instance, if you're towing boats, F-250, you have all the payload and all the towing capacity you're going to need to have in most cases, unless you've got a big boat. But when you start talking about the weight of equipment on a trailer or a dump trailer or something like that, where you have a lot of, and obviously 14K is even within my F-250's capacity. So if you have a 14K dump trailer, then you're probably pretty close. However, with a diesel and in an F-250, you may be getting close to your payload max with a heavy trailer like a dump trailer, especially if that dump trailer is designed really well, where it puts a lot of weight onto the truck as opposed to the axles being too far forward. So on the one hand, you might say, well, how is that designed really well if it shoves a bunch of weight to the truck? Well, it makes it drive extremely stable. You may squat like crazy, but the truck and trailer combo is going to go dead straight. So that is with me getting more into working with my dump trailer, working with equipment and tractors and whatever, I don't really put a lot of payload in, or I don't put hardly anything in the bed of my truck. This thing may as well be an excursion for all I care, because I basically don't use the bed. A toolbox goes in it, and I put fuel cans in it, but if they made excursions, I would want to have a 350 excursion is what I'd want to have. That would fit me perfectly. I don't have a gooseneck trailer. I don't have a fifth wheel trailer. I would like to get a gooseneck trailer, but I don't have one right now. So I tow larger conventional trailers. We have a relatively large sailboat that weighs about 10,000, 11,000 pounds between boat and trailer and the mast and sails and stuff in the boat and whatever. And then our power boat is about 13,000 pounds plus trailer. So I kind of figure she's right around 15,000 pounds of conventional power boat trailer weight. So all right, I'm throwing in some OG pictures of some of my older trucks. I've noticed that now that I'm a little bit older, if I'm not making a YouTube video, I'm not even on my phone. So I'm totally failing at taking pictures of anything that I'm doing if I'm not making a YouTube video about it. So maybe I'll try and do a little bit better job of that. I don't have any pictures of the 7.3 hardly towing anything unless I'm making a YouTube video about it. So shame on me. We'll do a little better job this season. Size powerboat. So, but the most miles that I do are not towing big stuff. I mean, I have I'm one of those guys with an F-350 that has a 12-foot utility trailer because it's the most efficient possible way of moving small cargo there is. Small snowmobile trailer, a couple car haulers, things like that. So not terribly big trailers on one hand, but then on the other hand, I need to be able to have the stability and the capacity for a large trailer. So, and then right now, driving to an accident site to go look at a semi-truck and an accident site. So right now I'm driving empty with some coffee and some water. So in that way, and I'm missing my Shih Tzu. Normally I go to work with my Shih Tzu, but he's getting groomed, so I don't have my my little buddy with me. So as for that, that's how I use my truck. It needs to be able to work well off-road because I like to frequent state forest areas and go four-wheeling and dirt biking and boating and all kinds of stuff, and sometimes you need to have four-wheel drive. So a good four-wheel drive truck that is reliable, that can take abuse, and because I have friends that do dumb things, sometimes I get tasked with pulling them out. Even be phased by doing something potentially abusive or damaging to it. And the other thing is I've made mistakes too, in terms of one time we went snowmobiling up to a buddy's cabin with my dump trailer with 3 snowmobiles, a Trek snow blower, a half a quart of wood, a couple coolers, a crap ton of fuel, all that packed into a dump trailer to pick up. And dummy over here took the wrong road and sank it, and we got it out ourselves. We self-recovered ourselves with the trailer's ramps, and I had recovery ramps, and aired the tires down to like 15 psi and fully sent it. Well, that truck never had any axle issues even after axle tramping for a mile with a dump trailer behind it, and jerking the heck out of it and doing things that probably shouldn't be done with anyone's daily driver pickup truck, and yet it didn't even stumble. That is why I like and trust Ford trucks. They will always get you home, in my opinion. That's why I like them. There are other trucks that are really good, and I like a lot of other trucks because potentially they're cheaper, but I trust my Ford. I trust its driveline. I trust Ford's transfer case choices. Ford always seems to put really strong transfer cases in their truck that put up with heavy abuse. So, why do I still love my truck? Well, I'm going to start with maybe the things that I don't like, because we need to be upfront about that. I'm not a huge fan of my electrical screen on my dashboard. Sometimes when you leave the driver door or any door open for an extended period of time, it'll kind of glitch out, and then you have to reset your trip meters. It's really annoying for someone who's compulsive like me about monitoring fuel economy and the distance that I drove on a tank of fuel or on a trip. That is really infuriating if I'm on a road trip and I want to know how many miles I drove, and then the thing glitches out and I have to reset it, and it's really obnoxious. I don't know what the problem is. I've talked to my dealer about it, or my service guy, who's really good. He's not stupid and whatever. He's delved into it, said he doesn't have an update that'll fix that. It just is what it is. So that's a weird thing that doesn't actually impact the truck at all. It just annoys me as someone who's compulsive about monitoring my fuel economy. Also, every video I make, I'm going to condemn Ford for the M235. Ford, please put the Super 60 back in. Moving on, because those are really my only 2 complaints about the entire truck. Oh, and maybe we could have a couple more cup holders. Perhaps some, and yes, my truck's dirty, so you're going to have to enjoy that. Some cup holders on the floor right there. Yes, it is dirty. I have a daughter, and she eats crackers in the truck. I do need to vacuum it. We just got back from snowmobiling trip, so the truck is even more trash than it was before. I wish there were 2 more cup holders up front, and I wish that there were better designed cup holders in the door on the left side and the right side for the driver passenger. I don't really like the fact that they're goofy cup holders that don't really hold anything. I'm not really sure they're even really intended to be cup holders. Well, here's what I think looks like a snowmobile trail, and it is not looking good. We've had a worm up here, which is why I'm trying to capitalize and get a whole bunch of work done. And then if we do get another round of snow, I'm going to get at it, because I think it'll be the last hurrah. If we get gifted with a little bit of snow, it'll be the last hurrah for this year's trail season. So I really like having a gas engine right now in my life. I love diesels. The concept, the efficiency, the way they sound. I am definitely a diesel fan, diesel fanatic in every possible way. The thing is, though, for daily driving and for my uses right now, which I'm usually not in a rush, I'm not a habitual speeder, I just don't really drive that way anymore. I do try and make weekends as opposed to weekend warrior weekends. I try to make them 3 or 4 day weekends, and I'm lucky to be able to do so. As well as I don't mind staying an extra night at a hotel when, oh my, this is all plowed, interestingly. Oh, that's power line stuff, that's right. So, I don't mind extending the weekend to have a relaxation because I did that weekend warrior stuff, and the weekend warrior stuff is the reason why I bought my new 6.7 Power Stroke when I did. It is a kick-ass weekend warrior truck, and currently HO Power Stroke, between bragging rights and between just the way they perform, I mean, can you get? I got a friend of mine, and he just got a brand new, I think it would be a 24 Tremor 6.7 HO in that blue color. Oh my lordy, it is a good looking truck. It is it's got the same no, it doesn't have the same wheels I have, but it is a dandy of a fine truck. And them in black, have you seen these new ones in black with the black honeycomb grille? Whew. They are lookers. So they're awesome. So if you want to have a diesel, that's fine. But for me, I don't have to give a crap about def range. I don't have to give a crap about buying def, which grinds my gears in the first place. I don't have to worry about saving the planet one cardboard box and plastic bin at a time that gets thrown in a garbage can because there's no recycling bins anywhere. And even if you were to throw it in a recycling bin, it's probably not going to get recycled anyway. That really grinds my gears. And the fact that I'm not doing that right now, getting pretty good fuel economy. In the ice cold, I've noticed the 7.3, and I'm wondering about it for you guys too. Anyone else with 7.3s or 6.8s get surprisingly worse? Obviously in the cold you get worse fuel economy, usually half mile a gallon, a mile a gallon. I've noticed the 7.3 gets 1.5 to 2 less mile a gallon when the air is below 30 degrees. Is anybody else noticing that? We had that cold snap for about, 18, 20 days, and it was cold, and my truck got terrible fuel economy. I mean, I'm talking 10 or maybe 10.8 empty. Whew. Driving it like I am right now. It's kind of a nature of a large engine ingesting a lot of air, and that air is cold, so you have to put more fuel per volume of air. It's kind of part of the show, and I'm going to speed up a little bit for this guy. He's got a work truck, and he looks like he's in a rush, and this is a 65 mile an hour road, so I'm going to not make him pass me like that. So, that is one thing that I have noticed, but in the exact same day, a 6.7 is going to get worse fuel economy too. My 6.7 commonly got 15, high 14s, 15 to maybe high 15s in the wintertime driving normally, but then it would get 18 plus in the summertime. These new ones, though, I'm pretty sure are not seeing that unless you're extremely careful, especially when you're towing. The fuel economy difference between a 6.7 that isn't deleted between this 7.3, so I'll talk about mine. This truck gets between 2 and 4 miles a gallon less than my 6.7 towing, depending on the use. If you had equal use and equal trailer, between 2 and 4 less having a gas that I put 87 in, and I don't use def. There's not enough of a performance loss, or in this case, a range of, you're probably losing 60 to 80 miles of usable range having this engine if you had the same fuel tank in a diesel. So for me, even though I do drive a lot, I don't mind stopping every 300 or so miles to get fuel, because by then I probably have to take a piss. People in my car want to take a piss. My buddy wants to take a smoke. Like, there's other things that we have going on, and I don't mind stopping every 300 miles instead of 380 miles. You know what I mean? So for me, it's not doing it. Even with 17,000 pounds, I have zero problem going the speed limit. I don't go over the speed limit, and I'm not in a terrible rush. So I have not had the same, or I am very happy with the way that this truck performs in my daily life. If anyone was interested in looking at how we could build an equation to understand the payoff of buying this, or how many miles it's going to take to pay off buying a diesel, every time I've tried to make that equation and tried to do it the best that I could, is usually between 130 and 158,000 miles. By the time, so you're taking into account the fuel economy gain, but the lost money on def, the lost money on more oil per oil change, and things like that. So really, you're really looking at, is the fuel economy gain of the diesel worth the def, worth the oil cost, and keep in mind oil cost is pretty low, especially compared to buying the truck. So I just recommend that you just happily pay the money to put the new lifeblood into the engine. That's kind of a important takeaway. I love changing the oil on my machines because I know I'm giving them new blood. You know what I mean? So as for the 6.7s or the 7.3's performance, there is no part of the day where I miss my personal 6.7's performance. Now, if it was an HO 6.7, you can feel the difference between my 2019 and the new HOs, the 23 plus HOs. There's a pretty big difference in felt performance. There's even a slight difference in felt performance to 2020 and up. I personally don't think for my uses I would care that much. If I happen to have both, if I had this truck and a 6.7, I would probably notice a difference. But to be honest with you, I'm not sure the 6.7, I would be forcing myself to almost use either one because they're both amazing. So I just don't really think there's any downside either way. Whatever you choose to buy, I think you're going to like it. The caveat, I don't live in the mountains. Most of Michigan looks like this, and if there's a little bit of foothills, so be it. And even I haven't been out riding in Ontonagon area in the Porcupines in a couple years now because it's a long ways away. I don't have time. That's as big as mountains as we get at Michigan. I haven't driven out west in a while. I haven't driven down to Florida in a while, and especially not with a trailer. So the mountains are the biggest time where a diesel pays off. The engine brake and the performance going up a hill. If you don't live in the mountainous areas, you're probably not somebody who needs a diesel. I'm all for you wanting a diesel, but for me, I don't feel that I need it. And more importantly, I'd rather take the money that I would have put toward a diesel, and I'd rather put it toward snowmobiling or dirt biking or riding quads or sailing or powerboating. I like doing all that other stuff, and to have a diesel, if that were to cut into any of that, I'd be less happy, if you know what I mean. So I am not taking advantage of some of the things that this truck offers. Now, some of you guys who aren't using your truck as a heavier tow vehicle or have the same road trip uses that I have, one of the things I'm not taking advantage of with maybe not this platform, keep in mind there's no tuning yet for 23 plus, but let's just say there was, putting a supercharger on the 7.3, it's going to come alive, it's going to be a wicked amount of fun, and it's going to be super duper cool. Now, granted, I'm not sure there's going to be a whole lot to gain towing because as soon as you're on a long grade with a supercharger, the air is going to start getting so hot that you're not actually going to gain anything from having the boost. So keep that in mind. But let's just say you're on flat land or you're hot rodding around or whatever. That would be a really cool investment for some of you people. If you got a 2020 or to 2022, right now you could get a Whipple for it and tune it. At some point, someone is going to figure out how to tune the 23 pluses, and that's going to totally change the world in terms of the new 7 or the 7.3 is going to be able to get supercharger or turbo if you want. The diesels are going to be able to get tuned or whatever. So that's going to be a big thing when that hits. But right now, I can't put a Whipple on this anyway. But one thing I'm not taking advantage of, despite how much it takes to not do this, is to call up Carly and get a really wicked suspension system for this. Simply because I don't want 37s, and by the time you lift it that high, you're going to want to have 37s to both fill the wheel well and to get the amount of tire you're going to want to have, because a tire is part of your first part of your suspension system. So if you were to lift the truck, put it on fancy shocks and whatever, but then you still have it on these are 34.5s, you're just not going to get the ride quality or the off-road performance out of this set of tires as you would go into a 37 on an 18 or 17. I prefer 17s. I'm not taking advantage of that aspect of the truck. Some of you buyers out there who are looking at these things, you may be someone who's like, yeah, I'm looking for that ultimate off-road performance. Well, you came to the right place because this chassis is super easy to do some pretty incredible things. Now, my disgust with Ford going to the M235, this is still a Dana 60, Super 60-esque housing. It looks exactly the same. It uses 60 outers. It's the tubes, the knuckles, all that stuff. Well, the knuckles are outers, but the C's, the differential housing, all that stuff is Super 60. The physical strength or the load carrying, shock absorption or shock, it's not really absorption, but the overall strength of the axle, not talking about import torque, is the same, or it could even be better for all I know than the Super 60. So in terms of the off-roading, go fast, bang over bumps, you're still in a great position with this front axle. The only thing you're really losing here is both the aftermarket support, of which there's none. You can't change this axle. You can't put a locker in it. You can't change gear. You can't do anything. So, and that leads me to another topic, but I'm going to restrain my ADHD from jumping on another topic to finish what I'm saying here. You're only losing your input torque, now that I said input torque, let's move on to what I was going to say. Buy the right truck first. If you think you want 430s, get them.
In half a mile, turn right onto Ryman Road.
You cannot put 456s in these axles. You can't go from 373 to 430. Buy the truck right the first time. And if you think you want to have that little bit more and you're going to buy a 23 plus, buy the Tremor, because the Tremor already has the
turn right onto Ryman Road.
The Tremor already has the Torsen front axle, or it's Torsen. It's very similar design to the Detroit True Track, super duper similar.
Continue on Ryman Road for 1 mile.
I don't like them as much as, say, having a locker. I would always recommend that you have a locker, but in this case, you physically can't put a locker in these axles. So you're left with either swapping to a Dana Super 60 from a 22 and back, or not having a locker at all. So if you think you're going to want the off-road perspective, buy the Tremor, because you're starting off with better skid plates, your factory lift, and already have 18-inch tires, which, I like 17s better, but for tire selection and things like that, I just prefer 17s. But 18s have a better metric tire selection, and it's like what I've taken advantage of with this truck with 285 65 R20s is almost a 35, a 285 tread width on my factory wheel is a big, nice tire. So that's something to keep in mind. 20s and 18s offer you to have metric sizes that get you a nice diameter.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Michigan 32 West.
You will have a very well-rounded truck on an 18 or a 20 with the available aftermarket sizes, whereas a 17, 315 70R17 is getting to be one of the bigger metric sizes you're going to be able to commonly buy with a 17. And 305 7017, again, a great size.
Turn right onto Michigan 32 West.
So, lots of potential there to play that tire size game, I guess is what I'm saying. But the Tremor's a really good choice for those who know, I live in this environment here. I live in northern Michigan, and I want to go out and have some fun with my buddies, whatever, buy the Tremor. Unless you're willing to do a Dana 60 swap, because right now I'm stuck with the open differential, which is fine by me. I would prefer to have a locker.
Continue on Michigan 32 West for 13 miles.
2019, and it was wired up to number 6. But I can't get that for this, and that just is what it is. So, I'll get back to you. So, continuing on, my dad called me. He's trying to navigate to the same inspection too. So, I'm coming at it from two different ways. For a lot of you guys who want something a little bit more than what this truck is going to offer, a standard truck that has an e-locker in the back, like an FX4 package, any of them, just get the Tremor and be happy. There's no real good downsides to it. It's still going to do just wonderful things for towing and great for family. I have the Tremor steps in my truck. I highly recommend the Tremor steps. I think the biggest thing is this truck already comes 95% of what I would want it to be. In the last 5%, I put the Tremor steps on because I wanted to have those. They look good. They work great as steps. They're built extremely well. The non-skid coating is ridiculous on them, and there's no corrosion or paint flaking. I'm amazed at how well made these things are. Highly recommend that. And then throwing the tires on that match what I'm doing with the truck. Truck's perfect just with those two minor changes. The only way it could be better, like I said, if it had a Super 60, I'd be jumping up and down and saying how perfect this truck is. It's the Super 60 that I wish that it had. So, yeah, definitely still love my truck. The 7.3 just has a wonderful range of power. It likes to hang out around this lower RPM, this 1200, whatever. We're climbing just a little hill right here. Just kicked a little downshift into 9th. I mean, it just works really, really well. So, it is a rewarding vehicle to own. It happened at a great time because I got it cheaper. I had basically 100% equity in my 6.7, and I put a lot of it toward this truck. I have a super low, extremely low payment on it, and just fits what I'm doing so perfectly, so naturally. I really love the truck. And I think if you went and test drove a 7.3, I think you would, wow. I think you would feel the wow factor. I think a lot of people are looking at this truck. I've talked to a lot of people, and being someone who owns a GMT 800 Chevy, 6.0 owners, prior 6.0 owners, and if you have a GMT 900 or the newer ones, G2XX, whatever the heck they call them, this truck is kind of like a 6.0 made better in every possible way. So still has good top end like a 6.0 has, but it has amazing bottom and mid-range. We're going up this hill right now. We're just kind of tootling along in like 13. And she's going to go climbing the hill. And if we had 17,000 pounds in the back, she'd still climb the hill. And if we want to give it a boot full, we climb the hill. You know? It's just a truck that works really good. It sounds good. They did a nice job in the exhaust system, and the intake system is a really awesome burble sound. It gives you a nice feeling of, you can hear that the truck is working well all the time because you can hear all 8 cylinders firing happily. Speed control works well. The HVAC unit works really well. One warning, just like I said about ordering it right the first time, if you think you're going to put big tires on, like 37s, get 430s. The first time, make sure you get a rear locker in your whatever you're getting. It should just be a standard item. Ford builds enough of them, should just be a standard. Keep in mind the amount of money that you're spending to get a higher trim package. This is an STX. It is well equipped for being a base level truck, and I personally really like it. It's perfect for me. If you feel that you want to have more luxury, keep in mind you're paying a lot of money for that luxury on the exact same chassis, on the exact same body, with the same electronics running everything. So you're not getting any better electronics. You're just getting more electronics that plug into that already existing electronics. So with that said, make sure that you really want to have any extra features that you're being marketed to, because some of them, like the sunroof, in my opinion, is more trouble than it's worth. So I'll just leave it at that. And I guess, what else can we say? What else can we say? It just works well, guys. It fits in my life well. And you know what? I don't know what else to say, so we're going to go ahead and cancel it right there. We've talked to you guys a long time, and as usual, my driving talks, I like to communicate directly with you guys. If you have any questions, put them down below. If you have any concerns, put them down below. Email me if you want to. It's in the description. If you have any interest in supporting the channel, there's Patreon link, and then there's obviously the supers and the memberships and all that stuff. If you feel that you wanted to do that, I would appreciate it, but certainly by no means twisting your arm. Have a safe rest of the wintertime, and I hope that your truck buying experience in 2025 is interesting, fulfilling, and I hope that just make sure you're doing your independent reviews and talk to people who aren't sponsored by Ford. It's a good time to say it. Ford doesn't know who I am. They've never reached out to me, and I do not work with Ford in any single way. So my opinions are strictly based upon my own opinions of buying my truck. Any complaints that I have are the real complaints that I have based upon ownership of my truck, and anything that I like about it is based upon the things I like about it after owning my truck. If something was to happen to this truck, I would order the exact same truck. I think I would order the exact same truck, except for I would get the fifth wheel prep package, the gooseneck prep package, because I would like to get a gooseneck. I can easily pay about $1,500 and get the B. I always get this wrong. B and W gooseneck that assembles without removing the bed. Could easily do that. Haven't done yet because I haven't bought a trailer. I would like to have a large flatbed trailer, and it would be a good truck for it. I would order an STX. I would order an STX with 430s and potentially a long bed. And you're going to say why? Because I've always been a short bed guy. Because right now, this is only a work truck. Well, by that, I daily drive it, but I don't need to park in the front of anywhere. I can take other vehicles. I would probably consider doing the long bed only to put a bigger toolbox and potentially a drag tank because I'm sick and tired of filling up equipment with 5-gallon cans. So that's probably my takeaway. It'd be an STX in black with 7.3 or silver again, you know. Thing is, honestly, it's depressing me. I'd be hurt if something happened to my truck. I love this thing. So I don't even want to think about that. You guys enjoy your day. Thank you for tuning in, and we will keep in touch. And you can do so yourself by simply commenting and letting me know how you're doing or what you're working on, or any questions that you have about buying or owning a 7.3 gas Super Duty. Take care all and goodbye. Oh, this is important. This is an $11,499 GVWR truck with 4,381 pounds of towing capacity, or of payload capacity, rated for 18K conventional and 18.1 or 2 or 3, whatever the heck it is, for gooseneck. So hopefully that satisfies any questions you may have. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye. All right, what do you call a fake spaghetti? An impasta. Why did the coffee file a police report? It got mugged. And finally, what did the 7.3 Godzilla say to a 6.0 LS engine? Why are you so small? Have a great day.